Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Well, prepare to be offended, particularly if you're a do-it-yourselfer or somebody who deals with hi-fi. The Stan Freberg Show, as it was originally broadcast, the short-run series, September 29th, 1957. Great comedy, great satire.
This is the 12th show of the series of a brand new radio series.
From Hollywood, we present the Stan Freberg Show.
With the music of Billy May.
Plus the songs of Peggy Taylor with Dawes Butler, June Foray, Peter Leeds, and Judd Conlon for the Bears.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you on. Brought to you on. Brought to you on RADIO.
You've all heard about the death-defying Army Colonel, George Stapp, who rides a barren stretch of desert strapped in a rocket sled up to the speeds of 991 miles per hour. Tonight, we take you to Dry Lake, New Mexico, where reporter Herman Busby is interviewing another colonel who will be without...
Herman Busby here on the desert of Dry Lake, New Mexico. And standing next to me is Leroy Strattle. And your plan is, Leroy Strattle?
I'm going to bring in to our vast radio audience the on-the-spot reactions of the Colonel as he is blasted down the rails.
Have you installed the microphone in the Colonel's rocket sled?
Of course not. I'm going to hold the mic for him.
Oh.
You don't seem to get the big picture, Busby. While the Colonel is being projected in the sled, I will trot alongside.
Trot alongside?
Yes. I insist on bringing to our audience a graphic picture of the Colonel's on-the-spot reactions.
But, Leroy, aren't you in some...
Ah, Colonel. Leroy Strattle here.
I'm rather busy, son.
Yes. Well, we can see you were rather busy there, securing yourself in that rocket sled, preparing yourself for that death-defying journey down that mile-and-a-half stretch of gleaming steel rail.
Get out of the way, please.
And I can assure you, Colonel, that the heart of every listener in radio land goes with you down those slick, sleek rails.
Rocket sled to blockhouse. Everything secure in the sled.
Okay, Colonel. Ready when you are. We will give you the 10-second count.
Oh, is there some sort of fire here? What is that? Fire warning?
It is just a warning to clear the area.
Oh, well, I hope to get it cleared, all right. Yes. Now, tell me, Colonel, you will be going on that sled faster than the speed of sound. What preparations have you made for stopping the sled at the end of the run?
I'll drag my foot.
Oh, imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. The Colonel is going to drag his foot.
Will you please? The sled is braked by a narrow channel of water between the tracks.
Uh-huh. So this great test is to prove, then, whether or not water is a good thing to stop a sled.
I hadn't just thought of it in that way. I was thinking that it might prove that a man could bail out of a jet plane at high speed and live through it.
Say, that's an idea. You can test that, too. Uh-huh. Now, Colonel, as you are catapulted down the rails, faster than the speed of sound, I shall jog alongside the rocket sled and get your reaction.
So... You're going to run alongside of me holding that microphone?
Yes, well, don't worry. I've got on my sneakers, and there's a long cord on this mic. Very long cord.
10, 9, 8, 7.
King's X, my sneakers untied.
7.
Okay, I'm ready.
6, 5.
Don't be nervous, Colonel. I'll be running right alongside of you.
That's a real comfort.
Yes, well, Colonel, hello, this type of work. Colonel, I see your face being distorted out of shape there by the wind. Do you like this kind of work, Colonel? Really? I can't keep up with you, Colonel. Really? Well, Colonel?
Lieutenant Busby back here at the concrete bunker. I can see through my binoculars that the Colonel's rocket sled came to a complete stop. Unfortunately, Leroy Strattle did not. Now it's back to...
Chet Hornsley speaking to you from CBS Portland, Oregon. An unidentified flying object with a microphone in its hand has just broken through the sonic barrier at Main Street and Euclid Avenue at an altitude of 10 feet. The Ground Observer Corps reports that it's being pursued by what appears to be a pair of white sneakers. More from here later.
You talk about your 4-minute mile. Well, tonight we have a rather bizarre agenda, including an exciting lecture by Chief Bosun's mate George Salt, entitled Thrilling Knots I Have Tied. A song by Toothsome Peggy Taylor, and Billy May playing 5'2", Eyes of Blue in his stocking feet. May and his 7th Avenue Hawaiians playing 5'2", Eyes of Blue.
September 29th, 1957, the Stan Freberg Show on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our health care. No doubt. This is why so many people are joining Medi-Share right now. Medi-Share is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. Medi-Share can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. And Medi-Share is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that's worked beautifully for 29 years. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of the Stan Freberg Show, September 29th, 1957.
Everyone knows that the American husband is a handyman around the house. I mean, if a man can't do it himself these days, he might as well have stood in manual training. Let's take a common problem, a leaky faucet, and see how the average American husband handles the situation.
Harry, the kitchen faucet's leaking.
Well, don't you worry about it. Don't you worry your little heady weddy. My do-it-yourself manual will tell me how to fix it in a jiffy whiffy. Let's see. Here it is on page 168. How to fix a leaky faucet.
Faucet, wash it.
Faucet, wash it. Let's see. First, loosen the packing nut.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, wait a minute. To loosen packing nut, use a number 4 Stilson wrench.
Well, you got a number 4 Stilson wrench?
No, but wait a minute. It says here, to make a number 4 Stilson wrench, take an 8x1-inch bar of tempered steel. Honey, where are my 8x1-inch bars of tempered steel?
Well, they're in your workshop, of course, next to the atomic reactor kit.
Oh, yeah, sure. Come on.
Here's your tempered steel, dear.
Mother's eyes, yes. All right, let me see now. Well, here we go. Place your tempered steel in your hydraulic punch press. Well, that's easy. Okay, steel is punched.
Will you be quiet with that thing? You'll wake the baby.
Oh, yeah, forgot. Rock-a-bye, baby, in the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock.
You know what? We were better off with a punch press.
Okay, I'll fire it up again here.
Oh, Harry, he likes it.
Yeah, I noticed it, yeah. Yeah, okay, the steel is punched.
Okay, now what?
Now, let's see. When steel is properly cut and shaped, place it in your electric threading machine. Use stock lower jaw. Oh, sure, I should have known that. La, la, la. Now I have a number 4 Stilson wrench. Easy, wasn't it? Come on. Now, let's see. Now to loosen packing nut.
Now what?
Packing nut is loosened.
Oh, yeah, I see. Now what are you going to do?
Let's see here. When packing nut is loosened, unscrew handle of faucet, thus exposing washer. All right. Just a waterfall. When water will now flow freely.
What did you say?
I said water will now flow freely.
I can't hear you.
Well, stick your thumb in the faucet.
I still can't hear you. Wait a minute, I'll stick my thumb in the faucet. Now what were you saying?
I'm trying to tell you that the book says water will now flow freely.
This I don't know. Look at the floor. We could stock bass in the breakfast nook.
Well, let's see. Remove washer and inspect it thoroughly to make sure even the most microscopic flaw is detected. Place washer in your electronic microscope. Honey, where's my electronic microscope?
You don't have one.
I don't? Great Scott, do the neighbors know it?
Well, I don't think so.
That settles it, Madge. I gotta get down to the appliance store and buy an electronic microscope right away.
Yeah, but Harry, my thumb!
Well, sir, that's a mighty fine electronic microscope you've just bought. You're going to see things you've never seen before, sir.
Uh-huh. Well, I just want to inspect the washers.
Now, what else could I hook you for, sir? I mean, interest you in, sir.
No, nothing. Nothing else. How much is the electronic microscope, please?
$432.50 plus sales tax.
Uh-huh.
And the carrying charges, let's see, 10 times 400 plus interest, plus service allowance.
No, look, look, I'm paying cash.
Cash? Oh, come now, sir, you can level with me. You don't really want to pay cash, do you, sir?
Yes, certainly I do. Why shouldn't I?
Well, it just isn't done, sir.
Look at me, I'm doing it. Here's the money.
I'm sorry, you'll have to see the manager.
Will you take my money?
Come along, please. Don't fight me, sir. Will you come along?
But will you please just take the money?
Mr. Byrne, this gentleman wants to pay cash.
Mr. Byrne.
Whoops.
Oh, dear, I shouldn't have sprung it on him so abruptly.
Here.
Let me help you up,
Help
Mr.
him
Byrne.
up.
Yeah.
Shame.
Oh.
Are you all right now, sir?
That was the worst shock I had since they passed the law against usury.
But the gentleman insists on paying cash. What are we going to do, sir?
Throw him out.
Wait a minute. I just came here to buy a simple electronic microscope. Look, the water is running in my kitchen, and my wife is standing there with her thumb in a dike. Faucet. Why can't I just pay cash and go home?
Young man.
Let me pay cash.
Young man, listen to me. Do you want to destroy the economy of the nation? The next thing you know, you'd be tempted to pay cash for a refrigerator. or a television set. Do you realize you are being un-American?
Gosh. I guess I never looked at it that way.
Now, if you will just sign this sales contract.
Well, yeah. Well, let me read it first.
Read it? Young man, no one reads sales contracts. It's an invasion of a finance company's privacy.
Didn't really think...
I'm sorry, Mr. Byrne. I didn't know this gentleman was such a bad credit risk.
How could you possibly allow this man to think that he could buy anything from us? He's a fraud, a swindler. Call the police!
After spending a night in jail, Harry was released. However, when he returned to his kitchen, he found that his wife had become exhausted holding her thumb in the faucet, and when she took it out, very nearly drowned. Funnily enough, when he tried to pay cash for his wife's hospital bills, he was thrown in jail again because the only thing he had to put up for security was money. This made him a bad security risk. However, his do-it-yourself manual has stood him in good stead. Working evenings in his cell, he has managed to turn out a balsa wood credit rating with a left-handed thread and 2 best-selling books. Meanwhile, someone knocks without. It must be our man with the knot lecture. Just a moment, please. Oh, it's you. Gee, I was expecting...
Anybody following me?
Why, no, I didn't see anyone. Gee, this is a surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Tainter. Mr. Tainter, as you may recall, is the man who digs up the dirty linen in the history hamper. He has brought us such soiled unmentionables as the truth as he uncovered it behind Paul Revere's ride, Washington crossing the Delaware, and the nostalgic tale of his grandfather who chickened out on Custer's last stand. I take it you've been dipping into the hamper again, have you, Bob?
I don't believe we've met, Mr.
Freberg, you know me.
I don't believe so, no.
Why, you've been on the show a half a dozen times. Come on now, Bob.
No, you've got the wrong man, really. Say, are we alone, Stan?
There's the Bob Tainter I know. Yes, we're alone.
Oh, good. You see, I'm out of the history expose racket at the moment. I've sunk even lower.
This is possible?
Well, I see by the papers that labor racketeers are cleaning up these days.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and labor's also cleaning up the racketeers.
Well, let's not get morbid, Stan.
I'm sorry. Well, in other words, you've joined a union, have you?
Not exactly. There seems to be a little discrimination there against letting me in. I've started a few unions of my own. That way, they're small, but they're growing, and...
Growing.
And that way I can't get thrown out, you see.
Clear thinking. Say, I don't mean to criticize your ensemble, but why those ballet slippers?
Well, labor racketeering calls for clever footwork.
And yours is dazzling.
Yeah. Say, I noticed you opened the door for me a minute ago. You got a union card to do that?
Why, no.
Oh, it's too bad. You'll have to join the Brotherhood of Door Openers.
I'm a member in good standing of AFTRA, the Radio Performers Union. Doesn't that cover me?
Not anymore. I started the Door Openers Union.
When did you start it?
Just now, when you opened the door.
Fast thinking on your part. How much will the first month's dues be?
$50.
Whew, that's a little steep, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you don't pay it, you can't touch the door. You see, you won't be able to leave the studio.
Okay, I'll lower myself out the window on a rope, then.
No good. You shinny down the rope once, you got to join the Hindu Fakers local. I can take your dues for that, too.
Yeah, I'll bet you can. Yeah, well, I guess I'll have to pay you the money.
Now you're wising up.
You want cash?
Naturally. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought maybe you're on the Diners Club.
No.
I'm a paid-up member of that. Well, let's just get on with it so we can finish the radio interview.
Radio? You mean everything I'm saying is going out over the...
Certainly. Now, that's $50 cash, was it?
To the best of my recollection, I may incriminate myself.
Hey, just a minute here. Haven't I read about you in the papers lately?
To the best of my incrimination, I may recollect myself.
Well, now, you're just being modest. I happen to know that you've been the kind of a labor leader the American working man could look up to. After making 2,300 old ladies in wheelchairs join a local because they were operating a moving vehicle, you only charged them 1/3 of their old age pension for dues.
And to the best of my fifth, I do not recollect myself.
I see. Well, do you recall this? Do you recall how much we usually pay our guests for coming by?
Oh, yeah, I recall that all right. You usually come up with 75 clams.
Well, I knew sooner or later you'd get your memory back. See me after the show, and thanks for coming by, I think.
Gee, Stan, he left and he didn't even use the door.
Yeah, I guess he wanted to avoid having to pay himself $50.
Yes, but how could he leave without going through the door?
Very simple. He slid under it.
Isn't that awfully difficult?
No, for his type of man, Peggy, it has always been easy. Thank you. Many of you dear friends listening have a number of Stan Freberg records at various sizes and speeds strewn about your house. This is not neat.
And the conclusion of Stan Freberg's record plug and the Stan Freberg Show, September 29, 1957, when Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of the Stan Freberg Show, September 29th, 1957. Stan was plugging his records.
To rectify these litterbug tendencies, the Capitol people have thoughtfully collected 12 of my better-selling recordings into an LP album entitled A Child's Garden of Freberg. You may think this to be a poor title. Tough. It's already in the store. So that takes care of that. So, with the help of a wandering vocal group now called the Toads. Yes, you heard right, the Toads. I should like to sing a number from the album titled Shaboom.
Life could be a dream. Life could be a dream.
Okay, hold it, you guys. This is a rhythm and blues number. You gotta be careful or somebody's liable to understand what you're singing about. You want that to happen?
No.
Well, Dan, you gotta talk unintelligible like me, right, Stella?
You said it!
Okay, now you guys want to sell a few records?
Yeah.
Well, then stick some old rags in your mouth and take it again from the top, okay?
Okay.
I don't understand the words now, real mumbly. Life can be a dream. Shaboom, the break to take you up in paradise of above. Shaboom, and tell me, darling, I'm the only one that you love. Life can be a dream. Sweetheart, hello again. Shaboom, the hubble will be the boom, they boom. And I really don't. Bow, Billy Belly Folk.
What'd he say?
This song, it don't matter, baby. Believe me, let's wise up. Life can be a dream. Shaboom, the precious plans come true. Shaboom, and darling, I'm the only one loving you. Life can be a dream, sweetheart. Come on, mumble, you guys, mumble.
Every time I look at you,
That's the stuff.
I'm thinking on my mind.
Da, 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 da. You strictly understood a word at a time. Let's watch it, huh?
Sorry.
You know the rules. I got my eye on you, that's all. Okay, you guys, here we go. Real monotonous now. Shaboom.
Who stole the hey-naughty-ding-dong? Who stole the lang-a-lang-a-lang-a-lang?
Knock off that jazz, huh, Stella? Shaboom, shaboom. Shaboom, shaboom. Shaboom. Come on, mumble, you guys, mumble. Not mumble. Mumble! Okay, smart Alec. I know your type. You're a troublemaker. We sing a shaboom, right?
Right.
Then how come I can understand you? What's the matter, man? Don't you dig gibberish?
Why, sure, but...
Happens I gotta send you back to Hugo Winterhalter. Okay, you guys, big finish now, huh? On your mark, get set, mumble. Life could be a dream. Shaboom, if I could take you up to paradise. Not you, Stella. Wait a minute, Stella. Will you please? Hold it, man. Hold it, Stella.
Thank you, music lovers. The part of the Toads was played by certain elements of the Judd Conlon Rhythm Airs, to say nothing of June Foray in the touching role of Stella. That's enough already. Enough.
So what happens now?
Now I say this is Stan Freberg saying thanks for listening, God bless you, and good night.
The Stan Freberg Show is produced in Hollywood by Pete Barnum and is written by Stan Freberg, Pete Barnum, and Jack Roach. Featuring the music of Billy May, Judd Conlon's Rhythm Airs, and the songs of Peggy Taylor with Doss Butler, Peter Leeds, and June Foray. Bud Sewell speaking.
September 29th, 1957, The Stan Freberg Show here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, another episode of the soap opera Claudia. This episode, September 29th, 1948.
And now, Claudia.
Oh, Mrs. Norton.
Dr. Barry.
You're just the person I want to see.
Well, I've been wanting to see you too, Doctor.
Just been in to visit with your husband.
How is he?
Everything's coming along as expected.
Oh, I love to hear you say that.
And if it keeps up, we may get away without any complications at all.
Only may get away without any? Seems to me a concussion of the brain and a broken collarbone would be complications enough.
If all goes well.
Well, could it go otherwise?
Well, we hope it won't. But a concussion is a very delicate matter. David will have to be patient.
Does he know?
Well, I've played down the concussion to him. No use his being worried about himself. He knows about his collarbone. We'll blame it for our caution. Have you got a moment, Claudia? Are you in a hurry?
Well, only to see David, that's all.
Oh, can that wait a few moments?
I've waited since I saw him yesterday, so a few minutes more won't matter.
I won't keep you away from David long.
Well, is it anything special, Dr. Barry?
There's a nice, comfortable waiting room here at the end of the corridor. I've always been rather fond of this hospital.
Have you been with it from the beginning?
Been with it since it was a plain, clapboard house with 4 beds.
Oh.
And now it's a fine stone building with 38 beds. Yes, indeed. 38 beds.
Well, that's something to be very proud of, Dr. Barry.
Very proud. Let's sit down here.
Right?
A few moments ago, Claudia, you heard me say that I didn't expect David to have any complications.
Yes, Dr. Barry.
But he's had a severe jolt, a sudden car accident. He could have died. But he was lucky. Not even a severe case of shock. Well, that part of it's good. But his spirit has had a jolt, too. He's been put to bed, and he's going to have to remain there a while. Now, that's quite a dose.
Well, Dr. Barry, that David's going to have to stay in bed a few weeks, even if it is in the hospital, that doesn't seem so terrible to me if it turns out all right.
Yes, if. But see it from David's point of view. One day he was walking around, healthy, strong, ambitious, his own master.
That's very important to David. I know it, Dr. Barry. He hates even to catch cold. You'd think it proved some kind of a weakness in him or something.
Exactly, my dear. And now here he is. He doesn't feel too sick anymore. His headache's better. His shoulder doesn't pain him as much. As far as he can see, he's almost the way he always was. And still he has to remain in bed. He doesn't realize how important it is, day by day, not moving, not able to take care of himself, let alone you. His spirit's hurt.
It wouldn't be so difficult, would it, Dr. Barry, if David weren't a man?
You're very wise. That's why I've spoken to you.
Well, what can I do, Dr. Barry?
A great deal more than I can.
What is it?
You mustn't get anxious. You must be patient.
Oh, I'm terrible at being patient. I'm almost as bad as David.
No. I know you better, Claudia. You'll have to help David see that all he can do is wait. And still, he mustn't let himself grow anxious by his enforced quiet.
Everything's going to be fine, Dr. Barry. It must be. Why, there's no reason why you should be anxious. There's no reason, is there?
We'll see. It won't be easy, Claudia, to get him to give in. No man likes to count himself dispensable.
Especially David.
Especially a man in love with his wife and his work.
Life gets complicated.
Not life. People.
I never thought there'd be anything complicated about David and me.
Well, your life wouldn't be very rich that way, my dear. Well, he's waiting for you. When I knocked to see him, he thought I was you.
Well, I better not keep him waiting any longer.
You may find him a bit depressed today. He started asking me questions. When he could get up, when he could go home, and when he could go back to work. When this, when that.
You told him?
I temporized. Talked about his collarbone. So he's a little suspicious it'll be longer than he thinks.
But not as long as it will be. Poor David.
Not at all. He's a very lucky man. You'll see that again.
Thanks for the talk, Dr. Barry.
Just thought you ought to know the whole story, Claudia.
Medicine's not just for the sick person in bed, is it?
That would be too simple.
Heavens, we Nortons have taken up an awful lot of your time.
A stitch in time. And Claudia, it's time if you allow him. Who's the healer?
Well, I'm going to see that he gets all he needs. I hope.
You will. And keep your fingers crossed.
They're crossed. Very crossed. Well, here goes. Mr. Norton, in bed at this hour of the morning.
Oh, Mrs. Norton? Just thought I'd take things easy for a change.
Lazy loafer.
So you finally come to hold my hand.
Come to let you hold mine. You're the man in the family.
A fine one, too.
Oh, well, you're good enough for me.
Well, you're not very fussy.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Well, how'd you sleep?
Not bad.
What?
Prettiest little nurse in white gave me the prettiest little pill in white.
Spoiled.
Well, as long as I haven't got you to talk me to sleep, I have the next best substitute.
Nothing takes the place of you.
Now, you're just saying that to make me feel good.
How'd you know? Actually, I don't miss you at all. I've decided to fall clean the house instead.
When the mouse is away, the cat will play.
I'm the mouse, not you.
Well, I'm the mouse these days.
Some mouse. You look very handsome on a pillow, Mr. Norton. I've always thought so.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing on a pillow. A collarbone is nothing to keep a man in bed. Why, in 2 minutes...
business about rebuilding the barn is going ahead fine.
Oh, good.
Mr. Paradiso's doing it at top speed just for you. And, of course, Mr. Tucker is prodding him. He fancies himself your understudy.
And the pleasure is all his. Claudia. You're not really worried, are you?
Me? Worried? No. Well, that's all my news. You tell me yours now.
No, Dr. Barry told me not to get up yet. That's all right with me. I have no place to go. Now, let's see. What else? Oh, last night I heard the broadcast of a ball game.
Yep.
And this morning, the news. When I heard the news, I figure if I'm better off in here. Sounds like a terrible world outside.
For most people, I guess, but not for me. Knock wood.
Little optimist, huh?
But I'd be a fool if I wasn't.
I suppose one of us has to be.
Well, Mr. Norton. Oh, I didn't realize you had company.
It's only my wife.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, I don't want to interrupt anything.
You are?
I just came in because I thought you'd want a little entertaining. And while I was here, Well, are you comfortable?
Oh, I'm fine.
Is there anything you need?
No, not a thing.
Oh. Windows open enough?
Seems to be about right.
Well, in that case, I'll
please do sit down. We're only just talking.
Well, I have other patients to look in on. Mr. Norton does seem a great deal better now than he did earlier this morning.
Why not? Another day's almost half gone. Sun is shining, the birds are singing.
That's what I like about Mr. Norton. Always so cheerful.
That's
Other
me.
patients just complain and complain.
How could David complain when he's getting all this wonderful attention and
You'll
care?
be surprised how. Well, now, don't you talk too much, Mr. Norton, and please don't try to move.
No, I won't.
You're uncomfortable or something, you just ring your bell and I'll come right in and straighten you out.
Well, thank you, nurse. I'll do that. Lovely girl.
She thinks you're lovely, too.
It's her duty. All of her patients are lovely.
And there's no reason for you to be so modest, darling.
Yep, I like it fine here. There's a lot to be said for hospitals. You really get good care in a hospital.
Am I hearing right?
Well, isn't it the truth?
Certainly is.
Of course it is.
I just didn't know you had the sense to see it.
Got brains.
You know, if you were at home, we'd just be letting you lie around. No attention. You'd have to just fend for yourself or else feel you're imposing on us all the time. And
Every word you say is so...
personally, I think you're getting an awful lot of attention you don't deserve. You haven't even had a baby.
I had a pretty good car accident, and it takes a pretty good driver to have a pretty good car accident and not get killed.
Let's joke about it. It's a wonderful subject to joke about.
Wonderful. Say, you should have seen the night nurse, darling.
Cute?
I should say cute. Redhead. She made me an eggnog. It was delicious.
I thought you were the man who's afraid of getting fat.
Oh, she said I wasn't the type.
Well, redheads usually know. Oh, David, you can't imagine what a relief it is for me to see you're getting such wonderful care. And that you don't mind it.
I thought you'd be relieved.
I am.
Now you'll realize that there isn't a thing for you to worry about.
Good.
So promise me that you won't.
I promise.
You look tired.
Me tired?
Yeah.
I'm not. I feel fine. Wonderful.
Are you taking good care of yourself? You're not running around too much, eh?
Not at all.
Now, just because I'm not around to keep my eye on you, I don't want you to run yourself ragged, you hear?
I won't.
Then everything's fine.
Fine.
From here on in, now that my headache's gone, I can just enjoy myself.
Just enjoy yourself.
The scenery? I noticed the scenery on the ceiling. You see that
Lovely
crack in the ceiling?
Looks like the Mississippi River.
Looks like a horse. And the eggnogs, the company's fine, the attention, the whole kit and caboodle. I love it, every minute of it. Even the food is good.
You just don't know what it means to me to find you so cheerful. I can't believe it.
Well, why shouldn't I be cheerful?
Oh, no reason. No reason.
Anybody who wouldn't be cheerful is an ungrateful cuss. I feel great about the whole business. So you don't have to waste any sympathy on me, you hear?
Not one jot?
Not
one little jot?
Not one little jot, no.
Oh, David, now I don't care what anybody says. You and I and all this is going to come out fine. I'm sure because I know things that even Dr. Barry doesn't know.
What are you talking about?
Oh, about a man who pretends to like nurses fussing over him and red-headed eggnogs and lying in bed in the morning. I know about a man who pretends because he loves somebody, and when you can do that, darling, nothing can beat you, and everything will be fine.
Sure it will. So give me a kiss and stop looking so solemn.
If you have any teenagers in your house, I suggest you think of them next time you're at the grocer's or the service station and bring home a case of Coca-Cola. They'll probably be delighted at the idea of a whole case of Coke in the house, for they'll have in mind after-school and after-play treats for themselves and for the whole gang. Why shouldn't they have this pleasure? Coke is only $1 for the 24-bottle case.
Mr. King,
Oh, yes, Dr. Barry.
You asked me the other day if you could visit Mr. Norton.
That's right.
Well, no reason why you shouldn't. Anytime.
Well, then I will after Mrs. Norton leaves.
You won't stay too long, of course.
No, I won't.
Visitors are always more fatiguing than the patient expects.
Still, I'll visit him today because tomorrow he'll have another guest. His partner, Roger Killian, is dropping in.
Good. The time will pass more quickly for Mr. Norton. Well, I have to make the rounds now, so excuse me.
Of course. And thanks for the news, Dr. Barry. As I was about to say, every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir.
Well, the auto accident has kind of made the show a little more subdued, but it's still not quite as harrowing as most soap operas. From September 29th, 1948, Claudia here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We thank you for making us a part of your day, and I hope that you will please tell all your friends. It really is important to us to let folks know that there's great radio and some of the finest shows of all time on the radio right here on your favorite station. And thank this station. Support their advertisers. We couldn't do it without them. If you miss a day, though, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available at our webpage, classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me there. You can also find social media links. You can find information about downloading our shows. And you can also buy me a coffee. Buy Me a Coffee money goes for us to acquire new great radio shows like the run of Casey Crime Photographer we've just acquired from a select group of radio collectors. That's classicradio.stream, classicradio.stream. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.